Okay, so I want to get started in talking about the types of goals that you should set as a graduate student. So, the first type of goal is the goal that we probably all think about when we are setting goals, and that's your career goal. So, what do you want to accomplish in graduate school in, a certain time frame? And if you're kind of on the fence about what you should be focusing on right now in your graduate school journey, I have made a quiz for you that is in the description below this that you can actually take that quiz, figure out what stage of graduate school that you're in, and what you should be focusing on in each stage. So if you're interested in that, there is a description below. But the first one is just basically what you should be focusing on. And at every specific time point, you should really only have one major goal that you're focusing on for that thing. So if you're in grad school and your career goal is to get a paper out or to write up a paper, you really need to have that as your main goal and not have, I want to get a paper out and finish this project and do all these other things. While you may need to be doing all of those things, you want to make sure that you're focusing on your top priority. So the first type of goal is your career goal. But even as graduate students, we are people. We're more than just graduate students. So there's other types of goals that help keep us well-rounded and moving forward. So the second type of goal is a goal for your health. And this can be something as simple as putting in a self-care routine. It could be a workout goal. It could be a lot of different types of goals, but it's basically a goal to make sure that you're staying healthy, both mentally and physically. The third type of goal is going to be a wealth goal. And so I know in graduate school that we don't have a lot of money, and we may be like bleeding money, but either having a goal for saving something or even having a wealth goal for what is something I could be doing now that in the future is likely to bring me in more money. So maybe learning a new skill or something like that that can help you in your future. So that's the third type, is a wealth goal. The fourth type of goal is a personal enrichment goal. And so whenever you're looking at personal enrichment, this is something that we often push to the side whenever we're in graduate school because we're so focused on, we have to be graduate students, we have to get our research done, we have to get our work done. But to actually be productive in grad school, we need off time in grad school. And so you want to have something that's going to make you better. And this could be something like, I want to read a book, or I want to learn a new language, or learn a new skill, or pick up a hobby. Any of these type things are personal enrichment goals. And you should have one of those kind of at all times that brings you out of grad school and gives you something else that you can be doing that makes you feel like you're accomplishing something. And then the fifth type of goal is a social goal. And so we as humans are social beings. And so we want to have at least one social goal, which may just be, I want to, hang out with my friends at least once a month. Or that could be up to like once a week, or I want to make a new friend, or something like that should be your social goal. Now, I know in the time of this pandemic, it might be difficult to think, oh, well, I can't go hang out with my friends, but you can still do virtual things with your friends, or even if you have been really isolating yourself, just reaching out and, texting or emailing a friend could be really helpful during this time. So the 5 types of goals that you're going to want to set are a career goal, a health goal, a wealth goal, a personal enrichment goal, and then the final one is a social goal. So if you have any questions about any of that, go ahead and put it into the live chat, and I will answer any of those questions that you have. And I'll give it just a second to update, and then we can move on into the time frame that you should set goals for. Okay, so I'm not seeing any questions, so I'm going to keep going. If you do have any questions throughout this, though, go ahead and put them into the live chat. So the time frame that you want to set goals for. So a lot of people, we're going into the new year and we want to think about setting goals for 2021. And what happens when we do this? We start in January and we're like, yes, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And then in February, we kind of tailor off of it. We go through most of the year not even thinking about our goals. And then in November and December, we're like, oh, yeah, that was a goal. I'm going to hit it. I'm going to do all of these things. And so we spend the majority of the year not actually focused on our goal because the deadline of that goal is so far away. So what we actually want to do is make 12-week goals. So this is about 3 months. And if you make a 12-week goal, the deadline is far enough out that that goal could be something major. You could write and submit a paper in 12 weeks without, really working super hard throughout that whole time, just working a little bit at a time. You can do that in 12 weeks. And so if you set 12-week goals, you don't spend a large portion of your year not doing anything. And then at the end of that 12 weeks, you should celebrate the fact that you met your goal and give yourself about a week off. And then you can reset goals for the next 12 weeks. And so if you set your goal starting January 1st, that would have a deadline date of March 26th. And so that would be 12 weeks away. And because there are 52 weeks in a year, if you have 4 of these 12-week goals throughout the year, that gives you 48 weeks, which means you have 4 extra weeks to celebrate yourself and rest in between. And so this is a good way to actually set out your year where you're going to accomplish, 4 goals in each category through the year instead of only setting one goal and then not being as productive working on it through the year. So that's kind of the time frame, is you want to have more of a 12-week year instead of a 12-month year, so that you're actually have that deadline in sight and are constantly working towards that goal throughout the entire year. So if you have any questions about kind of the time frame, drop them in the chat and let me know. And then we'll get into how do you make a plan, right? So a lot of us will start out and say, okay, I have this goal, and then we want to work towards that goal, but we have no actual plan for achieving that goal. So we constantly think, I want to write a paper, and let's say we set that as our career goal for 12 weeks. I want to write a paper in 12 weeks, and then we won't make any plans for writing that paper, and so we'll get 2 months in and haven't done anything towards our goal. And then we try and stress about it in the last month to try and get things done. But if we want to be successful in attaining our goals and decreasing our stress levels, especially as graduate students, what we want to do is actually make a plan. So whatever your goal is, you want to cut it up into basically 12 steps to complete that goal. So if our goal was if our goal was to write a paper, then your first couple steps might be something like creating the figures for that paper, or figuring out what your figures would be, then creating your figures, then maybe forming them together to make a figure outline, and then getting that figure outline approved. And then you can start moving into kind of writing. And so maybe you talk about like writing the introduction and basically break up the paper into 12 steps. And then you basically assign each step to a week. And so the first week, you know that your goal for that week is just to figure out what kind of figures you'd want in your paper. And then you'd kind of go from there to where every week you only have a little bit to do, but then in the end of 12 weeks, you've met your goal and you've written a paper, but it didn't feel like kind of waiting till the last minute and all the stress that comes in the final minutes of dealing with trying to get it all done because you haven't done anything for 2 months prior to that. So that's kind of the third step to your goal setting for the new year, is I suggest making a making 5 types of goals. So a career goal, a health goal, a wealth goal, a personal enrichment goal, and then a social goal. And so once you have those 5 goals, you want to set them to a 12 weeks. So make sure they're reasonable for a 12-week time frame and set a deadline to them. And then to follow that up, you want to break them out into 12 steps and making your plan. And so once you've made your plan, then you will be able to enact that and actually, hopefully, accomplishing your goals by, the end of March instead of by the end of December. So that's the material I wanted to cover. I do want to give a chance if you have any questions for me related to making goals or grad school or anything like that, go ahead and drop them into the live chat. I have a bit more time that I will be here answering questions. So if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in. I'm really thankful for all of you for coming, and I hope that this can be really helpful to you. And if you're watching the replay, I really hope that this is helpful in kind of changing your mind a little bit about setting goals and trying to set more well-rounded goals and not just focus solely on graduate school.